Greetings and salutations. Ignore the fact that my hair looks like a freaking wig right now. So, yeah, we're about to talk about Star Wars: The Phantom Menace and how big it was. So yeah, we have quite a lot of talking points about this. So let's get started. So there have been interest in a follow-up to Star Wars after Return of the Jedi. George, he wasn't at first interested until he was able to tell a story of, writing-wise, of how a young man would eventually become the Dark Lord in a galaxy far, far away.
My name is Jake Lloyd and I'm 7 years old. Hi, my name is Justin Burfield and I'm 9.
George wrote it knowing that it would be an incredible task to find the right child actor. He had every imaginable element built into this kid, from mechanical ability to earnestness. His look was important, his intelligence. And usually children's roles aren't that complex. And in Anakin, you had to have it all.
How that would happen. And also, after he realized that CGI had gotten to a good point, it was full steam ahead, with the writing process beginning in 1993, production started in 1994, and filming in June of 1997. But what was The Phantom Menace about?
The new episode 1, starts 30 some odd years before episode 4, which was the original Star Wars. Ever since the success of Star Wars, I decided I would go back and tell the backstory of how everybody got there. Because the tricky part of the
films are serials. They are designed ultimately to be seen as one big 12-hour film. And in that, there are sections and chapters that actually express the story of a family.
Before the fall of the Galactic Republic, with Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn and his apprentice Obi-Wan Kenobi as they try to protect Queen Padme Amidala of Naboo in hopes of securing a peaceful end to an interplanetary trade dispute, joined by Anakin Skywalker, a young slave with unusually strong natural powers of the Force. With Liam Neeson playing Qui-Gon Jinn, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, Natalie Portman as Padme Amidala, Ray Park / Peter Severus as Darth Maul. Ray Park did the the physical stunts and all that stuff for Maul. Jake Lloyd as Anakin Skywalker, or Annie. Ahmed Best as Jar Jar Binks. Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu, and as well as Frank Oz as the voice of Master Yoda.
Afraid, are you?
No, sir.
See through you. We can.
Be mindful of your feelings.
Your thoughts dwell on your mother.
I miss her.
Afraid to lose her, I think.
What does that got to do with anything?
Everything. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
What are my opinions on the film now? My opinions on the film is that the film is still entertaining to watch. It has a sense of fun, whether it's on the Gungan world, or the dramatic moments of when Anakin Skywalker says goodbye to his mother.
Will I ever see you again?
What does your heart tell you?
I hope so. Yes. I guess.
Then we will see each other again.
I will come back and free you, Mom. I promise.
And, you see, this film, came out in 1999, and, looking back, sometimes we think, ooh, this was the, very dark age of when it came to CGI, the beginning point of it. I still, at least, this is my little perspective, as I still think the pod racing sequence still holds up today, even when we look back at it. lightsaber choreography for the film, compared to the past films, is fast. It has a lot of jumps, fast movement, and especially the sequence when Darth Maul has his dual-bladed saber, which is offensive at the time. Especially say later in the fact that as the series go on, we have the sequel series with say Kylo Ren, especially with Kylo Ren's saber and all that. When it comes to the success of the film, it was pretty big in that the film had a budget of $115 million and a returning box office $924.3 million worldwide during its initial theatrical run, becoming the highest grossing film of 1999, the second highest grossing film worldwide and in North America behind Titanic, and the highest grossing Star Wars film at the time. The film didn't have a lot of competition, and so it was very lucky it wasn't sandwiched between other films at the time, especially nowadays when big budget tentpole films are say, oh, you better go see it now because next week there's something great also coming out. So let's move on to say the always fun process, the toys and promotion. When it comes to the product placement, in this case, toys, we would have action figures from the Keener company, which looking back still look great. Another action figure was the voice command figures based around characters from the film, which had dog tags that when you scan them on a walkie-talkie device would give you lines from the characters in the film.
Listen, the explosive words and sounds of the Star Wars Comtech system. Imagine yourself in the movie.
I sense a disturbance in the Force. May the Force be with you. You, your instincts. You will be a Jedi, I promise. You have been well trained.
You'd also have other things like the Star Wars video game, The Phantom Menace for PlayStation, which isn't that bad. It's a very good game. To the Star Wars Pod Racing, which came out for N64 and PC. It also came out for the Game Boy Color, which that version had a rumble pack with the cart. So whenever you'd hit a wall or something, the cart would and all that. We'd also have Lego sets for the film. So there was a lot when it comes to toys for the marketing of the film. And when it comes to food, restaurants with both Taco Bell, KFC, and Pizza Hut had sponsorship for the film, which looking back is surprising. And say, wow, 3 restaurants are all are sponsoring this film.
The galaxy's most legendary heroes, fearsome villains, and coolest vehicles. Now available to take home and play with at Pizza Hut, KFC, and Taco Bell. Right now, at participating Taco Bell locations, you can get one of these cool Star Wars Episode 1 collectible toys. One in every Taco Bell kids meal you buy.
But Taco Bell was the main one that sold toys for the film. You gotta understand though, when it comes to it, that these 3 companies were owned by PepsiCo. The film came out, but reactions were mixed for it, in that some were kind of upset in that they viewed it as an insult to their childhood. Really? So, some critics thought the film was good, or is better than films that came out at the time, like The Mummy or The Matrix. A lot of criticism was directed towards Ahmed Best and Jake Lloyd, and by this I mean actually directed toward the actors themselves, which, yeah, not cool. So, after the film, fans would, kind of calm down. even though some still view the film not as great as the original films. The film would get sequels with Attack of the Clone, and eventually the third film, Revenge of the Sith. Thanks to this film, the action sequences for the films would become elaborate and bigger in scope. So if you don't like the prequels, we have to admit that the films help give them more in scope, more production value, more choreography when it comes to everything. And characters like Darth Maul would eventually return, since he had been left off the end of the film for even the show Star Wars: The Clone Wars. So, now let's move on to talking about Jake Lloyd. Jake Lloyd, who played young Anakin Skywalker, had actually been bullied for his role in the film, which I'm going to chalk it up to folks either being jealous or just being, I don't know what the word would say, it's upsetting. One of the things for Jake was that in 2008, he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, along with dealing with agastanosia, a condition where a person cannot recognize their illness and the need for medication. Ahmed Best, who had played Jar Jar Binks, had actually received quite bad treatment for his portrayal as the character of Jar Jar Binks. And when I say bad, I mean it was bad.
There was just so much hate and venom and anger directed at me. And I took it personally. And a lot of times, I hear people say, we're not talking about you, we're talking about Jar Jar. You're talking about me. I put a lot of me into that work. And if you talk to any artist, and you talk to any artist who really cares about their work, you're talking about them.
So, back in 2012, the film was released to theaters, but in a whole new dimension. In this case, it got a 3D conversion, which in the 2011s and 2012s was very popular. Which, from what I've heard as a release, it was good, but here's the thing, 3D around that time could be either hit or miss for some folks, based around, their eye visions and all that stuff.
The greatest saga of all time is coming to the big screen in spectacular 3D. Experience the wonder.
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force.
The excitement.
You believe it's this boy?
Now we have the 25th anniversary, which, by the time this video comes out, I'm sure you've had the chance to see it. Compared to the previous release, this version will have, give audience a new sneak peek at the Star Wars show, The Acolyte. And, looking back, even though, some folks can say, well, why would I want to go see it in theaters? Well, even though, you'd have it on, say, Disney Plus, I feel say, whenever you get the chance to see something, an older film, from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, that is giving itself the chance to come back to theaters, there's always a good idea to, take that chance, go see it. And yeah, what is your thoughts on Star Wars: The Clone Wars? See you next time.